Hey, beautiful people. We're back with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about how forgiveness is freedom. I'm Saria.
And I'm Kara.
And if this is your first time on our channel, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And also follow us on IG and TikTok at QueenConvos. We also have a podcast. See the description below for more details. So let's talk about this. So we talked about this, Kara and I did, and we wanted to repurpose the definition of forgiving as giving myself a release and moving forward, taking the giving part out of forgiving and the for from forgiving and making that for. So giving myself a release and moving forward. And we said that because a lot of times forgiveness, it's not for the other person, it's for you. And when you forgive someone, you release whatever animosity, the tension, whatever buildup you have towards a person or situation. And when you release that, you take some burden off of yourself. And then you move forward. You can move forward with a better conscience because you have released yourself and that person from that situation. And sometimes it is hard to do, especially depending on what it is. And we also had a talk about forgetting, because the term forgive and forget, that's a very popular catchphrase or whatever. But a lot of times, depending on what the situation is, you can't really forget things fully. And I know, what's the saying in the law of attraction community, Kara, that we had the discussion about? The past.
The past doesn't exist.
And so one of the things I had heartburn, over with that phrase is the past does exist in my book. It doesn't mean that it's actively happening now. And you can release yourself from being held back by whatever bondage the past may have held you in before. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And I think sometimes people take that phrase and they give it a meaning that is, I don't know if I want to say too literal. But we wanted to clarify that. And like me personally, I don't like that phrase, but for people that do use that phrase, it doesn't mean that your past doesn't exist. It means that your past is not actively happening right now. Therefore, at this current moment, it's a choice, just like we have our video about make a decision. It's a choice whether you let your past continue to impact what is going on in your current reality and in your future reality. And that's a choice. You can allow your past, well, I've never been good at such and such. And so you keep going with that programming that maybe because you failed at something multiple times in the past, that you can't do it in the future. So in that instance, you're allowing your past to dictate what's going on now and what's going to happen in your future. However, you can use that past also as like, well, I may not have done well at such and such in the past, but today's a new day. Or either I can get more reinforcement to get better. You can change the story that way. Or there are instances where you can use something as a motivator that happened in your past. Like case in point, I had a professor in undergrad, and I think there was a bit of no, I'm not going to say that. I had a professor in the past, and she had written something that was not very favorable in a recommendation. I don't know if it was because of race or a personal issue, but it was an unwarranted recommendation. And thankfully, I opened the recommendation before I sent it to the graduate program. But anyway, I used that letter that she had written from when I was in undergrad all the way up through my completion of my doctorate, which I graduated with a 4.0. And I sent my transcript back and that letter back and a book that I had written back to the dean, her, and the dean of the program and the school, because I used that letter that she wrote to try to tear me down as a motivator. So there's some instances where you can use your past as something that motivates you. It's not that it didn't happen, but it's just like, oh, because you did this to me or you said this to me, now I'm going to use this as something to motivate me, and I'm definitely going to prove that wrong. So I think it's really you choose how you relate to your past, and how your past dictates what's going on in your current reality and your future. So going back to the whole forgiveness principle, you have, and I've forgiven that professor, but I did use what she did in the past as a motivator. But in order to move forward, to give yourself, that release and move forward, you have to forgive. So that's my 2 cents on that. What are your thoughts, Kara?
Yeah. In a sense, though, too, it's like you're forgiving. It's kind of like, I was going to say it's like you're forgetting, but you're not really forgetting. What you're doing is just not allowing it to dictate your future. So there are people, though, too, that say, I'll forgive you, but I won't forget.
Right.
And that can go one of 2 ways, or one way. It can go a couple different ways. You can use it, like Saria's example, you can use it to propel you forward, to motivate you to kind of like win in spite of what they said or what they did to you. Or you can use it to identify yourself and think that now you've been labeled this and you are this way and you will forever be this way because that one person said that about you, and you can't ever forget that because it's a part of your life, and that means that it was supposed to happen, and now you're just doomed to be stupid, or you're doomed to be not good enough because so and so said so or did something to you. And sometimes there's like tragic things that happen, and your brain actually does not remember them because they're so traumatic that it like blocks it out. It's that fight or flight mode. And but you still have some sort of connection to it. Like you might not remember the intricacies of what happened, but you remember, oh, you were abused, or, oh, you were mentally or verbally, emotionally abused. And so therefore something's wrong with you, you're broken. And your brain will always go back to that that's what you are. Your subconscious is like telling you that's what it thinks, because you didn't forgive. You didn't stop it and shut it up and tell it, no, that is not true. And that's okay. That's not to like blame you. It's like, I think that we need to stop listening to other people when they tell us forgive and forget, or I'm going to forgive, but I'll never forget. Don't let that never forget thing hinder you from moving forward. All it's going to do is keep you locked in, like you're in a jail cell, and you're not able to see a way out. If you're holding on to that because you can't forget because it was so awful, and all you see in this person or the situation is, I could never forget that. Okay, then you're just going to stay stuck. And do you want that? I don't think so. Nobody wants that. And there is a way out. And we just gave you a bunch of examples, but it's really about changing your perspective, and knowing that, oh, yes, knowing that it does not define you. That experience doesn't define you. It doesn't mean that every experience from here on out is going to be like that. And so when you can forgive that person, you're also forgiving yourself for whatever you think your fault in it was, or because you're a certain way. Forgive yourself. You don't have to be like that. It doesn't define you. You define you. And give it to yourself so that you can have that freedom. Forgive it to yourself so that you can be free and not chained up and suffocated by these old circumstances, the way that things used to be. It doesn't have to propel into your future. If you keep focusing on it and saying, well, it's because that happened, then that's my destiny. That's just the way it's going to be. And I have a habit of doing this. Well, change your habit. You have the power. Stop being a victim. You have it within you. Just, you're not going to get from here to there by wallowing in, well, that person did it to me, so that's just how my life's going to be. That's really, like, listen to yourself. That does not, it's not helpful. It's not powerful. It's not confident. This is what we're doing here. We're trying to help you. And I'm not yelling, or I'm not, scolding or anything. I just want you to understand that your old circumstances, those things that happened in the past, do not have any power here now unless you let them. So take control of it and move forward. Forgiveness is freedom.
I'm laughing, but that's true though. It's very true. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on IG and TikTok at QueenConvos. And if you would like your topic to be featured in one of our future videos, leave a comment below or send us a DM. Also, listen to our podcast. The information is in the description below. Until next time,
stay classy
and sassy. Okay.